Shalom, shalom. This video is about the Gospel of John chapter 12, verses 1 to 7, and it's about Miriam's anointing of Yeshua's feet as a prayer act of worship. I'll read the verses and then explain. 6 days before Passover, Yeshua came to Bethany again, where Lazarus was, whom Yeshua had raised from the dead. So they prepared a dinner there for Yeshua. Martha was serving, and Lazarus was one of those reclining at the table with him. Then Miriam took a pound of very expensive oil of pure nard and anointed Yeshua's feet, and she wiped his feet dry with her hair. Now the house was filled with the fragrance of the oil. But Judah from Kriot, one of his disciples, the one who was about to betray him, said, "Why wasn't this oil sold for 300 denarii and the money given to the poor?" Now he didn't say this, he said this not because he cared about the poor, but because he was a thief. And since he had the money box, he used to steal from what was put in it. Therefore Yeshua said, "Leave her alone. She set it aside for the day of my burial. You will always have the poor among you, but you will not always have me." And this is the parallel text to Luke 7 verse 36 to 50, and I recommend that you read that because together it gives you a clearer picture of what actually happened that evening. Luke provided detail which John skipped over, such as Miriam's bad reputation from some time before, and it was a local Pharisee who hosted the dinner. Whilst Luke refrained from mentioning Judah from Kriot by name, John had no such restraint to name him. Miriam was an extroverted, flamboyant woman, well known and popular, and in stark contrast with her sister Martha, Miriam was an emotional drama queen. Both sisters were extremely grateful for Yeshua for the resurrection of their brother Lazarus, but Miriam had greater gratitude because Yeshua turned her from her prior sinful life to her salvation. In other words, in a way, she too was resurrected by Yeshua, and Miriam showed her gratitude dramatically. Miriam spent a year's wages on a pound, that's about 0.454 kilograms or 454 grams of pure nard oil, and anointed Yeshua's feet with it, after she washed his feet with her tears and dried it with her hair. The nard oil is made from the rhizome of nard, distilled in a dense amber liquid, essential oil that is intensely aromatic. This was an intense and dramatic, impactful act of worship with many facets to consider. Washing a guest's feet was essential good hospitality, and Yeshua famously linked the washing of his disciples' feet with their salvation as he demonstrated servant leadership to them. Once we are saved by offering our lives up to Adonai's service, we are clean, but we still face seduction and temptation, and we still stumble in and sin here in this world. And those stumbles and relapses, for them we need to wash our feet again. The washing of a guest's feet was usually done by a low-ranking servant, but it bestowed honor on the guest. And this contradiction, low-ranking servant bestowing honor, causes us to ask, how is it that a low-ranking servant bestows honor? Should it not be a higher-ranking servant or the host and master himself who bestows the honor onto the guest? The truth is that this custom portrayed the first of the two Messiahs, the son of Joseph Messiah, in his servitude to his guests. In this role as the suffering servant Messiah, Yeshua bestowed honor onto his Father and onto the believers who placed their trust and hope in him alone when he washed the feet of his disciples. Miriam cast herself into this role of the lowest servant. And this was unusual and controversial because being touched by a potentially unclean woman would render a person to be ceremonially unclean. In the norm, no guest at a dinner would allow a woman to touch him. But Yeshua allowed Miriam, even if she was in her nida, which we don't know whether she was or not. His purity never became tarnished by uncleanness, but rather destroys the uncleanness that is presented to him. And we see that in many examples, even lepers who touched him, or he touched the lepers. Furthermore, Miriam washed Yeshua's feet with her streams of tears, the text says. That's a reference to Psalm 119, verse 136. She poured her gratitude and overflowing emotions out on his feet in the form of tears. The Psalm 119, verse 136, links stream of tears as regret for breaking Torah. And this links to Miriam's reputation as well. The tears came out of her inner being, out of her heart, amongst people. Our tears may be our dearest body fluid. It's germ-free because it comes out of our sterile bodies, but it's living water, Maim Chaim, laden with salt. And it reminds us that every sacrifice must be served with a libation and with salt. That's from Leviticus 2, verse 13. It links the offering of a sacrifice with its libation and salt to the covenant between Adonai and his chosen people. So Miriam's tears is a prophecy about Israel, the bride of the Messiah, and the tears that will flow when he returns and they finally recognize their Chatan, their groom. The woman's hair is described, a woman's hair is described as her glory and her covering. And it's an ancient Jewish tradition still valid today. But Paul also explains it in 1 Corinthians 11 verse 15. So that when Miriam uncovered her hair to dry Yeshua's feet, she committed another cultural taboo to uncover herself. That is to uncover her beauty. But what she demonstrated was that she had no honor or glory in herself. Her honor and her glory was in Yeshua. She gave herself without holding back. What anyone else thought or said to her did not matter at all. Miriam filled the house with her worship, and then when she anointed Yeshua's feet, she also filled the house with the aroma of the pure nard oil. Miriam set the standard for followers of Yeshua to bring a pleasant aroma unto him in everything that we do, to his glory and not to our own. When we worship with no holds barred, like Miriam did, the spirit of Judah from Kriot will undoubtedly also speak up in self-righteous, pompous arrogance to oppose our praise. This is inevitable. When that happens, be assured that Yeshua takes notice and that he will step in to defend you, sometimes in the moment and at other times on the day of judgment. And I hope that will give you food for thought and unlock the small portion of the history of what happened that night for you. Shalom, shalom.